Boys, I'm sad to report I did it again. I am not cut out for the Players' Championship. So disappointing. 6 years in one and done. Still have only made the weekend one time. Thank you for your services, Colin Morikawa. And with that, we are on to next week, the Valspar Championship. We're going to take a look at the BetSports Golf course preview for Innisbrook Copperhead. We're going to look at the odds board and see who is favored and see if we can pick off some outrights. We're going to take a look at course history, of course. Then we're going to build a custom model over at rickrungood.com. And ultimately, we will find ourselves on DraftKings trying to build a single entry lineup that can make some noise. So without further ado, let's get started. Valspar Championship at Innisbrook Resort, just outside of Tampa, Florida. It's kind of an underrated course. I know a lot of people consider this to be the best of the rest. For example, the non-signature events, non-majors. This could be one of the best courses and really a strong field this year, kind of showing that guys like to play here. Very untraditional course. You'll see right here, the makeup of the course is 5 par 3s and 4 par 5s. That means there's one fewer par 4 than normal, and then the infamous snake pit with 2 difficult par 4s sandwiched between the long par 3 17th, a challenging hole and a challenging stretch. So we've already seen it here in the last few weeks on tour. Guys who have a 3-shot or lead more on Sunday, not closing the door and getting the job done. This is definitely a course where we can see that trend continue. A guy finds himself in the lead heading to 16, and then it all can sort of unravel. Just the general course notes: 7,350 yards. As we said, it is a par 71. Water in play on 6 holes. About 133 players this year, or this week. It says 135. This was a larger field in the past, up to 156. But just about 132, 133 players this year. One of the other things about this course is just you're not going to be able to use your driver a lot, right? You have one more par 5, or you have one more par 3, which just means right off the tee box you're hitting an iron, and that also means that there's another hole on a par 4 where you're not pulling driver. So this is a course where a lot of different players can win, but this does not mean you have power, you're a bomber, you have an advantage like a lot of other places on tour. So keep that in mind. Strategic type of course. You can play short off the tee. It's all about positioning. There's some weird dog legs, weird angles that you're going to see here. So just keep that in mind. Finishing position and best results over time. You've got Justin Thomas with 2 top 3s in the past 4 outings here. You've got Victor Hovland with a 3rd and a 1st. Of course, was not feeling himself last year, was really down on himself, had been very open with the media about not liking where his game was, and then, of course, came here and immediately won. Davis Riley, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s in his last 4 trips. Corey Connors, a 16th, a 21st, and an 8th. He's coming in with a little bit more juice than we saw from him earlier on in the season. And we can take a look at more guys in their course history by popping over to Data Golf, and we will sort by true strokes gained. So Hovland, number 1, 2.5 strokes. Cantlay hasn't played here, so this is negligible, the fact that he's played 6 rounds, but he played very, very well here when he did play here years ago. Schauffele, just above 2 strokes gained per round, a 12th, a 5th, and a 12th. Davis Riley, 1.8 strokes with the 7th, the 2nd, and the other top 20. Jordan Spieth, 1.7, but that dates back quite a while because he played here really, really well in a prior stretch before COVID, but also a T3 here in 2023. Justin Thomas, we said, about a stroke and a half per round, does have a ton of experience here. 30 rounds, a 2nd, a 10th, a 3rd, and the 13th in 4 of the past 5 years. Taylor Moore has won here before. Jacob Bridgman, who I know is coming in fantastic form, finished with a solo 3rd last year. So with that being said, let's take a look at the odds board. And you'll see here, Xander, the rightful favorite. We did shout him out last week and said that you were probably not going to catch a better number than 29-1, and he played well. Just didn't have it on Saturday, and that kind of took him out of it. But leads the field here at 10-1. Matt Fitzpatrick led with 2 holes remaining and couldn't hold off Cam Young, 15-1. Akshay Bhatia and Hovland at 19-1. Cantlay, I think this is too much respect for Cantlay. He's not really been in contention in a long time on tour, but name recognition, name value, people know him, people like him in a weak field like this. So he's coming in at 21-1. Justin Thomas, I think that's a very fair number considering the performance we just saw from him at TPC Sawgrass at 22. And the book's showing a tremendous amount of respect to Jacob Bridgman, also at 22. Bigger name guys like Brooks Koepka and Jordan Spieth, major winners right behind, 25 and 27-1. Ben Griffin came into the year hot, has not performed well here in 2026, but can always turn it back on. I like Corey Connors at 33-1. I think this is a very fair price on Sahith Theegala at 36-1. Austin Smotherman doing well in a lot of approach stats this year on tour. I'm going to pop. I don't know that I want him at this short of a number, under 50-1, but he is, playing just as good as anybody on approach. Wyndham Clark, 54-1, name recognition, but not playing good golf. I think this course sets up well for Aaron Rai. He's a shorter hitter, and he's just going to be a strategic, find the fairway and be strong with his irons. And this is kind of prototypical place for him to possibly do well. Max Homa, a scorecard straight out of a theme park last week. I mean, it was just complete roller coaster. I mean, that guy's scorecard was unbelievable. Take a look at it if you have not seen it. Taylor Moore, the win here in the past, performed well a couple weeks ago on tour. Sung J M, not sure what to make of him, but 94-1 if you want to take a stab in a weak field like this. Tony Finau showed some signs of life on Thursday at Sawgrass and then faded, which I think is to be expected. But I did like the way that he was playing early on in the week. Tom Kim, as talented, I'll say it every time I see him in a field, as talented as anybody in this field, just hasn't had it the last year or so, 110-1. Michael Kim, I always like how he plays, 125-1. Again, not the longest hitter in the world, but you don't need to be. He's going to be accurate, and he's, popped in weaker field tournaments previously. I like Eric Cole as well for some of those same reasons. Anybody else worth shouting? No one really for me. I mean, you see guys that are young and have all the talent in the world, like a Gordon Sargent, like a Nick Dunlap, who has a win on tour but has just been horrific since, a Jackson Suber. Some of those guys, I mean, they're going to win at some point. I don't know if this is the week for them, but just a couple of other shouts. And nobody else that's really catching my eye. Luke Clanton kind of fits that same bill. All the talent in the world. When is he going to put it all together and show what he was destined to be when he first arrived on tour? We shall see. 145-1. So let's head over to rickrungood.com and see if we can build a model that's going to treat us well this week. And we'll clear that out, and we'll always, of course, start with some weighted strokes gained total. I think this week in particular is going to be a lot of approach and proximity stats for me. Let's go approach over the last 36, 10 points, approach over the last 100. Bogey avoidance is going to be big here. I always like that. Driving. Not the most important driving course, but I do like to see fairways gained. Approach, it's going to be huge. Let's go opportunities gained. Let's go greens gained. And then something that I want to dial in on this week is par threes. Because, again, you have one more than usual. And that kind of, again, tells us how you're playing with your irons more than worrying about driving. And then for that final 10, what do we want here? Let's just go general approach from that same bucket. We want to go 175 to 200 and just see kind of where that takes us initially. But you see a lot of proximity, approach, iron statistics this week, more so than usual. Not a lot of tee to green stuff for me. And we could tweak this if we need to, but looks like coming out right on top, Matt Fitzpatrick with a grade of 85, and right behind him, literally right just shy of 85, is Victor Hovland. Very interesting. I kind of foreshadowed the fact that Austin Smotherman might pop in a model like this when you start accounting for proximity stats and approach stats, just because he's been so dialed there. But again, I don't know outright wise for me if I'm getting there at 49-1, but definitely in play for us on DraftKings. Certainly Corey Connors, same type of accurate guy and really rounding into nice form right now. JJ Spawn, same thing. Cantlay at 13th, Justin Thomas at 16th. Wow. And you see like Akshay and Xander down here. Normally the top 20 is good, but in such a weak field like this, it's kind of alarming that they are not. Let's look at Xander in particular. Highest priced guy on DraftKings, and obviously the leader on the odds board in terms of like projected win percentage and such. So strokes gained total, obviously the best golfer in the field. He's first. Bogey avoidance outside the top 75 in a weak field like this, alarming. Outside the top 100 in this field in par threes that are 175 to 200 yards, concerning. 200 yards or more, 41st, 175 to 200 general approach, 19th. That's good. Approach over the last 36, 18th in this field. Again, I would like to see that be higher. I mean, this is not a good field, and you're only the 18th best on approach over the last 36 rounds in this field. Approach over the last 100, longer term view, he is top 10. Fairways gained, 117th, but again, not a huge deal. I did want to see that though, but not a huge driving course here. Opportunities gained, 12th. And then greens gained only 29th in this weak field. So you can see why he's outside the top 20 in a field like this. So a bit of a concern, but let's go back to the top. And then I guess Aaron Rye, who I shouted, interesting. Some stats that absolutely pop: 6th, 1st, 13th, 31st, but then some other things, particularly on avoiding bogeys and par 3 scoring, where he does not pop as much. So let's go back to the top. Fitzpatrick and Hovland, maybe the guys you want to gravitate to and stay away from, the Xander range. That's going to cost you more. Smotherman can give you some salary relief. Lucas Glover, interestingly, can give you some salary relief. Thorbjorn Olesen, heard his name whispered in circles this week. That's interesting that he is inside the top 10. But you're really going to have to get salary relief from, it looks like Smotherman, Glover, Zach Blair. That's interesting. Lee Hodges, who I do like at a course like this. But let's see how that all comes together over on DraftKings, and we'll maybe hop back and forth. But Fitz and Hovland right to the top. So over at DraftKings, let's try to build some magic here. And let's just start right off the top with Smotherman. Salary relief and top 3 in that model. Let's go down to maybe Hodges, because we know we're going to want to get to some of these top end guys. And then who else was it? Maybe Olesen, Thorbjorn Olesen, who was also around the top. Yeah, top 10 and going to give you a little bit of relief. Glover, who plays better here historically between the two? Glover's played 70 rounds, knows this course very well, and coming in with a couple of straight top 12s here. That's encouraging. And then what about Olesen? 8 rounds, a cut, and a T36. Maybe, yeah, let's lean to Glover and just hope that he can pull it together this week if he's higher in the model and a little bit cheaper. So now that does give us the flexibility to get to both Hovland and Fitzpatrick, 1 and 2, and really give us 1, 2, and 3 in our model. And then where would that leave us for the final guy? 8,300, still a pretty good amount. You're talking about Rasmus Højgaard, Pendrith, Davis Thompson, Nick Taylor. I guess you can't get to Nick Taylor, but Højgaard, let's see. Rasmus Højgaard. Nikolai's up here in the top 10. Is Rasmus worth getting to? Davis Thompson here at 26. I'm not seeing Rasmus. Let's go by salary and look at 8,300, 8,100. Wow, not the best score in the world. Pendrith rates out a little bit better at 57 overall. Is that still pretty low down the board though? It is. Who else can we look at, or can we make a tweak? We can go 7,600 each. Where was Hodges in our model though? He wasn't a must-have. He was 17th, and he does give us salary relief. Where do we want to go here with 7,600? Near guard Peterson looks to rate out well. Let's see why. No red, that's good. Probably just honestly doesn't have enough rounds. And where has he picked up his starts this year from? Puerto Rico T60. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Kind of want to go back to Hodges. And then I almost have to go with Pendrith or Thompson. Do either of those guys play here well? Pendrith, nothing to speak of. Davis Thompson, nothing to speak of. Hasn't Keegan Bradley played well here? Not recently. Let's see. Spawn, but nobody that's going to let us get down. Blair. Guess we could almost go Blair and then Taylor. Taylor is not playing well here, but he rates out well in the model. And if we go Blair instead of Hodges, I think that opens up and gets us higher rated guys in the model. So let's call that the single entry for this week. Smotherman, Blair, Glover, Hovland, Fitzpatrick, Taylor off first look, basing it just off the model. We've got 1, 2, and 3. And then we've got the other guys all inside the top 15. So that'll do it for us this week. Some interesting things going on here, but interesting that Xander is not really popping in the model in such a weak field, and also probably a good thing that you can leverage off of him. And there are some guys that you can get to and still build a very strong lineup based around 2 of the other guys at the top in Hovland or Fitzpatrick. So let me know what you guys are thinking in terms of both one and done, DFS, outrights, and such. Leave comments, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys again next week.